So there's CBT for insomnia specifically. So if that's something that somebody deals with, you
Okay.
can look up CBTI, so CBT for insomnia. And there are specific techniques that you can teach yourself to help if insomnia is an issue. Things, there's so many things that we can do that are intuitive too, like, stopping caffeine early in the day and not, screen time at night, limiting how much screen time we're getting and turning it off, or taking a hot shower, bath an hour before we go to bed is shown to like really help with our body temperature rising and then falling so that we get sleepy.
I love how like there's great people like you out there who we can actually just say, "Oh God, I want to rage, I want to do it," and you just go, "Well, actually, that's because of this." Now, ground yourself, and I love the power that you talk about, the power of pausing. Just
Mm.
stopping and
Mhm.
not actually. I don't need to be on the grind. I don't need to be checking my emails at 11 p.m. because of my work.
Mhm. Mhm.
How do we actually start using the power of pausing? How do we
Yeah.
stop, catch a breath, and go, look, we need to be better to ourselves?
Yeah. I mean, I think it really does start with discipline, honestly. Like that's how I do it. So like by that I mean if I go for a walk with my dog, I'm tempted to bring my phone with me, cuz like, I like to have my
Mhm.
phone. There's something about having that phone on us. But the discipline is, no, I need to clear my head and I need to just disconnect. And so I'm going to go for this walk without my phone, so that takes discipline, so it's sort of, I think it's creating an intention around what we're doing and why we're doing it, and making sure that we are at least in the, if this is a new journey, really, really like physically and manually taking those pauses for ourselves. Um, yeah, it might just mean like making rules for it, no, not gonna call anybody, in the car. Like in the car time might be a good time to make a call but maybe that's the time that I need to decompress after a day of work. And so that's just gonna be a rule for myself. I'm just not gonna do that so I can like just sit with myself.
Because one of the things I read recently was how I think it was something like 60 to 70% of men identified as not having a best friend or a close
Mhm.
friend that they could share
Mhm.
things with. Do you think
Mhm.
there is a loneliness epidemic that COVID has really highlighted? We just
Oh
hid
my
it
god.
behind fame and going and drinking and stuff. Now we're realizing where
Yeah.
the priorities should lie.
Yeah, yeah, I do. I mean, I do think that there is a lot of loneliness, and I think COVID has only exacerbated that to a huge, great deal. And we're social creatures, and having friends and having people around us is so, so important. I mean, they've done like also like lots of studies about people naming people who would just come to them, like come and if they needed help, so who do you have anybody you would call if you really really needed help, and who would show up for you? And I don't know what the exact number but it was really small. Like most people couldn't even think of someone who would do that for them, and that's a very lonely place to be. And we
Mm.
can like talk about why, I mean, COVID threw things off dramatically because people were isolated and lonely because of the pandemic. But even before that, with technology and social media and like the sort of like this constant busyness that so many of us are subjugated to, or, feel like we need to do, it
Definitely.
just gets us very stuck in our way of being, and pretty alone.
Because something I noticed a lot of people struggled with was suddenly, with all the distractions taken away,
Mhm.
people were terrified of silence. They had
Yeah.
to have something, they had to have the noise, they had to be doing something. How do
Yep.
we stop fearing silence and listening to our bodies again, listening to that voice in our head? Not the one that bitches to us, but the one that actually
Mhm.
says, we can be more.
Mhm.
You're happy, you're worthy, you're good enough. How do we
Mhm.
reconnect with ourselves rather than what the Kardashians are doing or something silly like that?
Yeah, yeah. I think that so twofold, two sides of the same coin. And I get like, it's probably a lot of what I'm saying is like similar in, with the questions that you're asking me. But the first piece is that self-awareness. So how I'm
Mm.
spending my time actually impacting me? So is watching reality TV making me feel good? Like it's just in a very non-judging way.